Woo! I tell you what, I love that guitar riff. It is so great at the end of the intro there. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Path of the Brush. I'm your host, Rick, and we're going to be doing some follow up painting and some new miniatures today from the Marvel United game. It's a board game by Simon where you take on the roles of the different characters in blue, the different characters in red around this weird looking tableau right here. Let's see if I can do that. Okay. But it's super cool. The miniatures are kind of big head, little body, chibi looking characters. We were working on like Captain America last week and also Black Widow. The Red Skull is one of the ones I'm going to put some effort into today. And the Hulk right there. Super fun, super cool. And we're going to be joined by Mark and Will, our background producers. Come on, gents. There they are. What's up,
Hello.
guys?
Oh,
As always, they join us and paint. What are you two painting tonight?
dun-dun, 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 dun-dun.
Noise.
So I got the Hulk, and I grabbed a Venom. It looks like Spider-Man 2099 and Doctor Strange.
Noise.
So finish up Hulk and get one after one of these guys. Venom is speaking to me, so probably start him next. So I'll prime up these guys and then start hulking. Will, what do you got?
I am working on Cap. Same guy I was working on last week.
Great.
Nice.
Rather than pick up more models, I was thinking I would treat this guy like dessert and like just focus
Nice.
on.
Like
And-
flan? Like what kind of dessert? Like a flan?
Yeah,
Like a good Mexican flan?
Ooh.
Ooh, I was thinking more like a creme brulee.
Ooh, a little hard shell on top.
Yeah.
I do like it.
So before I get on to working back with the miniatures I started, and we have just so you know, Will, we do have one more episode where we'll be focusing on these. So you're gonna have to come grab
I'll
a couple.
probably have to grab another one. Yeah.
But what I've been doing is some zenithal highlighting, or what people today are calling slap chop. So I primed the miniatures black, and then I've been going over with some white and kind of doing a kind of a heavier dry brush, if you will, um, over the high points. And I'm just going to do one with using Taskmaster here, and kind of show you all what it, so primed black, the, the slap chopper here in just a second. All right, I just wanted
I
to.
love this effect.
So when you do a dry brush, at least this is what I do. You guys may do something different. I don't go like with the grain, if you will. So on his face here, I'm not going to go around this way. I'm going to go against it. That's a little too much. Over his face, and then over the buckles, and then across his arm and his shield, right there, and across all of the different points of the miniature. It's almost kind of cool. It's almost cool enough where once you've done this, it's almost worth saying this miniature could be done if that's a cool style, because it does look super cool, right?
Yeah, so much of it just pops out all of a sudden in that.
Yeah.
Just doing that bit.
Exactly. And it's so revealing, if you will, right?
Yes.
So as an example on the shield here, let's see if I can get a little closer. So I can do this on the shield. I just want to make sure I'm on the camera there. There we go. So and then the shield looks ready to go. All right. It'll look cool with the, so when how I kind of did is I want it to look like there's more light coming down this way on the top of that symbol in the center than on the bottom. And then across this cape back here. And then his arm and the other side of the sword. Oh, I'm not in the zone there. There we go.
Yeah, look at that pop.
Yeah.
Have you played the Unmatched games, which that are kind of out and about? I guess it was like from the mechanics and everything was from a old Star Wars game years ago, but now that it's, I think they've got some Marvel titles, and they were doing some of those things that fell out of copyright, like Robin Hood and different things like
Bigfoot.
that.
Yeah.
Yep. They did. They have a Bruce Lee that you can buy as well, actually, which even got me into the game. I was like, Bruce Lee, what is this for? And it was just a single character. But some of those models are basically just have just
Mhm.
like a dark and like a light little dry brush,
Nice.
so that come with them. But that's what
I-
like you're saying that this could just be table ready, and that's kind of the style that they roll with right out the box.
Very cool. Because I think it looks great. You
Mhm.
know, I'm gonna have to pull out the cards here for these particular miniatures because I don't know, like what's his name there? The when I just dry brushed. I'm having a
Taskmaster.
Taskmaster's full color scheme. I know his cape is white and his face mask is white. So it's kind of a weird combination.
Is he
That,
purple?
no, he's like I said, his cape is white, his hood is white, and his mask is white. You see,
Yeah.
white,
Okay.
a little bit more bone white here, and then he's got some silvers and blues in his.
He almost
The
looks
rest-
like like as a chibi, almost like a Garbage Pail Kid right there. You know
Oh
what I mean?
yeah, absolutely.
What would Taskmaster's Garbage Pail Kid name be?
Monkey Do.
Yeah, monkey do. Yeah, because that's what he does. That's his power, right? He has what's called photographic reflexes, and so anything he sees someone do physically, he can mimic it.
do it as well.
Yep, which is super cool. In the game, however, he has some other things like he has what's called dark schemes. If there are no heroes in Taskmaster's location, place one crisis token there, and you don't want those. Crisis tokens are not great.
Okay.
I do want to put a little love on him right away here because I just like the character. And we saw him or her because in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, Taskmaster is a female, and they were in the Black Widow movie, in her standalone movie, which was kind of interesting.
Yeah, it was
It was a
interesting.
fun movie too.
Yeah, I was super entertained.
It had the guy from Stranger Things, the dad, right?
Yep.
David. What is his last name?
I don't know.
I want to say Barber, but it's not.
No. If anybody in the chat knows what his full name is, let us know. I mean, we could always
I'm
Google
glad to
it.
see that guy getting more work. He's excellent.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. I can't
So,
remember what his name is either. Dang it.
A
Harbor,
spoiler
David
though for Stranger Things.
Harbor.
Harbor,
Yeah.
it's not Barber.
There you
So
go.
right now I just did the like a polyurethane, on Venom, but he almost looks like Venom, just all gooey and
He does.
just leave him all primed up. No, we'll just.
Heck yeah. Venom looking like a goo ball is pretty cool.
Yeah, the goo ball, which is Venom.
Yeah.
What did you think of those movies? The movies with
I had fun with the first Venom. I haven't seen the second one.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that.
They're fine. They're entertaining.
they're Sony, right?
Yep. Yep. They're
They're
entertaining.
the most respectful Sony stuff in the Spider-Verse besides the cartoons, in my opinion.
Right. Yeah. Well, I don't think Sony has Spider-Man's rights in the animated sense, only in the live action. But I could be wrong. I usually am. So
That contract's in such a weird place.
right.
Yeah. I did like the Andrew Garfield movies.
What?
The Andrew Garfield movies, like the Amazing Spider-Man.
Yeah, those are great.
I thought those were they were like a little bit darker, kind of. I don't know. The Raimi stuff, was good. Love some Sam Raimi, but Spider-Man 3 was goofy. That's when he's snapping down the.
Or he's doing the dance.
Yeah, he's doing like the finger flip. That was like me in ninth grade. I mean, like walking down the hall trying to be a cool guy and like, learning quickly like that's not cool, man.
Yeah, it was a little awkward.
Yeah.
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 But Sam Raimi is a hometown or state town
Yeah.
uh,
Love me some Evil
hero.
Dead.
Yeah, fellow Michigander.
Yeah.
His directorial style feels comic booky.
Oh,
Yeah.
Ever
No,
since
absolutely.
and when it came out, I
Absolutely.
mean, those are 20+ years old, right? I mean,
Oh,
the,
the Evil Dead stuff.
well, not just that, but yeah, the
Oh,
Evil Dead.
the Spider-Man stuff. Yeah, his original with Tobey Maguire is absolutely 20 plus years old.
2000, right?
Yeah, something like that.
The Twin Towers are still in the first one.
Oh,
Wow.
wow. Okay.
Wow.
There was a scene where he caught a helicopter in between the towers.
That's
Oh, okay.
right. That's right.
It's cool talking, going back, even if there's like stuff that, I mean, a 20-year-old superhero movie isn't going to hold up the same as some of the Avengers or the newer flicks, even though that one's getting dated a little bit. But you kind of can go back and watch some of the stuff and still glean some magic, right?
Yeah, of course.
I think the Avengers is aged well. It's like the Spider-Man movies were the first time that I saw a comic book character movie, and I thought, like, they're hitting it. They're not. This isn't just a cash grab. They're actually trying to tell
Mhm.
that story.
I bet you it wasn't the first time you saw a comic book movie, though.
No, I'm trying to think of some of the other ones that were
In that
less
decade.
respectful.
Oh, you have the Batman movies.
Yeah,
Right.
the original 90, 89, rather. The first
89 Batman
89.
movie. Right. You watch that, right?
Oh yeah,
You
yeah. I
watch all
watched.
those.
Yeah, I suppose that VHS tape got thin, it started to fall apart.
Right.
I watched it so many times back then.
What about what is it? And Viggo Mortensen, History of Violence. Did you ever
I
watch
have
that?
not seen that
Is that a
one.
fairly newer movie?
It's not newer. But it was based off a graphic novel.
Oh, really?
Yeah, just like Road to Perdition with Tom Hanks.
Well, that one is as well. Huh?
Yeah, also a comic book.
Is that like a Dark Horse comic?
I don't remember who the publisher was to that one. All I remember is it was a graphic novel or trade paperback as well, and had a very violent uh, theme to it, which is why they probably didn't like parade around and go like, this is a comic book movie, bring out the kids.
Right. Right.
That's a good point. Like 300 was a comic book movie.
Yes, it was.
Frank Miller.
Yeah, so good.
Well, Sin City right before that, kind of brought that style
Yeah,
to the front.
yeah. Sin City's. That's kind of how I feel like how this looks, right? With the red
Yeah,
skull here, it's very Sin City, but because of the red, you got to get that one splash of color over the black and white theme of Sin City. And what was the other one that they did that had a similar vibe? Outside of, I mean, 300.
The Spirit one? That was not same director. I think that was.
No, but they did kind of follow the same kind of like
Yeah.
formula, if you will.
Yeah.
Which
Kind of a noir type deal.
yeah.
Which
Say
is
that.
super cool. Hey, what's up, Tim Socks?
Pimp Socks?
Tim Socks is talking about the Punisher movie,
Oh, yeah.
but which
Which
one
one?
was
The Dolph
right?
Lundgren?
Yeah, boy.
As a kid, man, that was great.
Yeah,
I remember actually telling my buddy's parents, like, it's cool, it's a comic book movie, and it was like one of the most violent movies ever, right?
right. It's so good.
I just remember the antagonist, the main villain's daughter, had those earrings. Do you remember that?
I
She had
do
these like
not.
blades for earrings that she would like throw at people and
What?
stuck with me.
Yeah, it sounds pretty awesome.
Unintended.
Well, it's kind of like the Kingsman,
Oh yeah.
the one girl who has the swords as her like prosthetic legs, right? Which I think that girl was the same one from Ready Player One, who played Denali or whatever her name was, and who was Ghost in the Marvel Cinematic Universe under Ant-Man and Wasp. I think it's the same actress.
I'll have to look it up. Did you see what is it? Planet Terror? Was it Planet Terror the one that was like the Robert Rodriguez, Quentin Tarantino jam? It was the Grindhouse, right? So one was
Grindhouse, yeah.
It was the Tarantino flick, and then the Rodriguez, other one was like Bruce Willis, and the one lady gets her leg cut off or whatever, and then they put like a machine gun as her prosthetic, and she's like limping on it, but then she like whips it out, so like start blasting everyone.
Yeah, nice. Hey Tim. So in the chat, Tim from Friday night D&D is here hanging out, chatting with us.
Oh, very
nice.
cool.
Nice.
Cool.
Not Tim.
Yeah, not Comic Con Tim, but
no. Other Tim.
Many Tims in your life.
Yeah, there's a few, for sure.
He is a Rick of many Tims.
I just need a council of Ricks. That's what I really want.
Is that the next thing?
That's the next big thing for me is bringing all Ricks together to form a true council of Ricks, and through our combined knowledge or lack thereof, we will be able to fix the universe.
They will combine to form the Rick.
Ooh, or the Rick with no id.
Oh,
that would be dangerous.
There's many terms for Rick, Richard, the obvious. Like you normally go by Rick, but is there any time that you go by Richard?
I go by Richard when I want to feel professional.
Okay.
Or when it comes to like signing business documents, and when I was in the military.
Okay.
But I prefer in social settings to be called Rick. My family, for some reason, feels that it's okay to still call me Richie.
Oh, you don't like the Richie, huh?
Ooh, I do not like that. But they've known me since I was in swaddling clothes. So
those childhood nicknames persist.
They do.
They sure do, Richie.
Oh,
I got Marky a lot as a kid.
I can see that.
Some people that knew me or maybe even babysat me as a kid, like they would
right.
That
and I can also see him going, oh, right. Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch, right?
Yeah, I'd get the Funky Bunch.
Nice.
Yeah, and then people would do the Marcus a lot. I'm just straight up Mark with a K, M-A-R-K, but people still would bust that out. And but yeah, I definitely have some friends, like a buddy named Andy, and he like at a certain point he was now Andrew, and still like, I call him Andy, just upset him. But
that's funny.
That's how it is.
Yeah, Tim says in the chat, the good-looking Tim. Perfect.
Yep.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. We do have a good-looking Tim that hangs out here at the store. Because we are coming to you, for those watching that don't know, we do broadcast this live from Hoplite Games in Lansing, Michigan. And we are going to be moving into a bigger space, and we're going to have a fun little dedicated area for live stream content. And it's going to, I think it's going to look pretty cool. So.
Are we going to be coming over there to do the show with you there? That'd be pretty sweet.
Sometimes if you want to, but it won't be necessary. Because I feel like if you're going to be at the store, you should be playing games.
Agreed. Agreed.
So it's a pretty short trip for me.
Yeah. It's a really cool spot. You're going to have like 4,000 square feet, you were saying?
Yep. We're pretty excited for it. It's going to be a real big jump in regards to our ability to hold events and tournaments and such. So, yeah.
That's very exciting.
Yeah. So we've been brainstorming some things that we could do that aren't like traditional events you'd find at a game store. So if anybody watching has any ideas, let us know. Some events that may not be a traditional game store event that you would like to see there. One of the ones I'm considering doing is hosting singles night like once a month. And so that local Lansing and surrounding area singles can come out and play board games and maybe, have a love connection. I don't know. Or just hang out with people that are also just single.
Little mixer.
A little mixer, yeah. I think that'd be fun.
Yeah.
Also, I feel like gamers sometimes have a hard time finding their soulmates. So
I was talking with the Conquest guys earlier today about stuff I was proposing for the new space, and I thought for the painting night, it'd be good to get a bunch of hoplites.
Oh yeah,
hoplites at hoplites. I mean,
yeah, it makes sense. Who you're talking to, Daryl or Hunter?
Giannis.
Genis.
Giannis
Okay.
Gagos. He's the Vanguard guy.
Okay. Cool. Very cool. What were their thoughts on that?
Their thoughts were it is after 3 a.m. Greece time when I sent them that email.
That makes sense. So they were like, they were right on it.
Yeah. Like, let me sleep, weirdo.
Tim says the new space looks awesome. Huge game. Huge. Gonna be the spot for Mid-Michigan. I agree. Gonna be the spot.
Heck yeah.
It doesn't hurt to have really good customer service. I think we kind of do that. Okay.
It's funny how that works.
Yeah. I think we do it a little bit all right. Yeah. But I'm actually, after the show here and probably during the show, you might hear some people like running around here in just a little bit because we're going to be packing up to go to C2E2, which is the Chicago Comic and Entertainment Expo, where I and the company, Thunderforge Studios and Hoplite Games, we run the paint and take arena at that show. So we're going to go there and let people paint miniatures all weekend long in our big booth. It's going to be a blast. And all the paints are being provided by the Army Painter, who is our friends as well here on Path of the Brush. So shout out to Army Painter.
Yeah.
If you have your phones, those that are watching, have your phones. Yeah, right there. We're using Warpaint Fanatics. That's what I'm using. What? And if you haven't done so, go onto Instagram or Facebook and give the Army Painter a follow. And if you're feeling real froggy, which I think you all should feel froggy all times, go to their YouTube channel and subscribe to their YouTube channel, because that's where they're doing a lot of cool stuff as far as like tutorials with their new paints, bringing on like some high level pro painters, doing classes, all sorts of cool stuff. So definitely worth giving them a follow.
I'm still trying to figure out what emotion froggy is.
Oh, froggy is just
when you're feeling froggy. Yeah,
it's like that high energy that's kind of bound up inside yourself, and it hasn't yet like released. It's that moment before release, right? You're either it's kind of like that fight or flight. You're gonna fight into it, or you're gonna jump away like a frog would. But we want you to, we want you to fight into it and go follow all the fun stuff.
It's not an "oh God, I just ate a bug" emotion.
Oh God, no. But yes, yum. Depends on the bug, though. I think grasshoppers, yum. Ants, yum. Dung beetles, no.
That kind of reminds me. I know everybody's heard that old idea that you eat a X number of spiders in your sleep.
Yeah.
That is untrue and ridiculous. Spiders don't
unfortunate.
spiders don't like things that move or things that are wet. So why would they crawl in your mouth?
Because they're agents of chaos.
Oh, never
But
mind.
Never mind. Then he says.
but you're probably right. It's not true, but it's one of those ones that are statistically it could be, because they say over your lifetime, right? There's a s-
Yeah,
there's a possibility that that could be the case. It won't. I don't think the spider's doing it on purpose so much as like, oh, I'm coming down off the ceiling, and oh, nope, nope, into the mouth it goes on a deep inhale,
What's this here? Oh, yeah.
right? That's literally how I live my life. What's this? Oh God, no, I shouldn't have done that.
Oops.
Yeah, exactly.
I find that every time I squirt paint out, I'm like, this is the exact amount I need, and it's like 6 times to 8 times more than I need every time. It's like
Yeah,
can't go back in.
that's hilarious.
Finally, little Hulk's got a little bit of darker green hair. That starts
Woo!
to show some highlights and stuff, and the little
Look at him.
purple pants.
That's one of the things I think is super funny is when they uh like highlight that trope about the Hulk. All right, they did it in I think they did it in the Eric, not the Eric Bana one, but the Edward Norton Hulk, where they were shopping for clothes for him, and the purple pants were like pulled out, and they're like, I don't think so.
Yep, that was the Edward Norton one.
Then they say something about like he looks for like a lot of spandex or something like that, or a lot of
Yeah,
like
stretchy pants, high tensile stretchy pants.
That one was She-Hulk, I think.
Mm.
When he was saying that spandex is your best friend.
Yeah, that I believe was the She-Hulk.
That was a pretty good little short.
Agreed. That series was amazing. I'm a big fan of She-Hulk in general.
Mhm.
I really enjoyed like the John Byrne run of She-Hulk because it kind of was what we got to see on the series. They kind of mimicked a lot of that because she also breaks the fourth wall a lot, like Deadpool does.
Oh yeah, kind of the aside talking to the screen.
Mm-hmm. But earlier you had mentioned, Mark, that you enjoyed the Andrew Garfield
Oh yeah.
Spider-Man run. Excuse me. One of the things about that particular series that I enjoyed was the fact that Andrew Garfield Spider-Man did a lot of inner dialogue, and I always felt that that was one of the key points of Spider-Man is though he may not verbally say out loud his apprehensions or self-loathing, if you will, because he always is like super critical of his stuff, his own personal stuff.
Mhm.
But you got to see that in um, the Andrew Garfield run because he had the inner dialogue where he was constantly, um, talking himself down or whatever and criticizing himself for not having done what he could of to save Gwen or whatever,
Or Uncle Ben.
or Uncle Ben, right?
He wanted to save Uncle Ben's rice, but overcooked
Right.
it.
Overcooked it. Uh, so one of the things for those of you who are like, what am I doing? So with paints, you definitely need to shake them up to get them ready to use because a lot of times they'll separate. So you gotta get in there and give it a good shake.
The best part with the Fanatics too, it's got the little
The the BB.
little BB in there, so you don't got to purchase them separate and toss them in.
Yeah,
That makes all the difference. It really
it
helps.
really does. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. Faux show.
And Mark and I did not confer ahead of time to make sure we were wearing John Carpenter t-shirts, but
Oh yeah,
It just worked out.
that's just It's apparently John Carpenter Appreciation Day,
Nice.
yeah.
which it's usually John Carpenter Appreciation Day.
Did you watch the remake of The Thing? Was it 2016? I think it came out 2016, 19.
Like the prequel one?
Was it a prequel remake or is like almost?
They did one as a prequel that was supposed to be like, and because in the beginning of the 82,
The wolf
thing,
or the dogs are running, right?
yeah, the Swedish team is chasing that dog.
Yep, yeah, it is the prequel. You're right.
Yeah.
It's very similar, other than like, But it was good still. I enjoyed it.
It was fun.
Right.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
Scuttlebutt was that they did all the monster effects practical, and then they CGI'd over it, which I thought was a bit of a loss because there was some serious uncanny valley with the monster.
Okay. I was entertained regardless of anything. It was a fun ride, and that monster was strong. Man, it was strong.
And I watched it. It was after it came out a while. It was like 4th of July. We were renting an Airbnb. All the rest of the family went to bed, and my wife and I were on the living room pull-out couch thing or whatever. Everyone's sleeping, and it was like I felt like a little kid again watching like the creature feature late night. I was like, I was like, this is awesome. Everyone's sleeping, and
that is awesome.
And then the next day, I told people about it, and they could just care less. Like, oh, cool.
Right. Oh, you stayed up late and watched a movie? Yeah, that's really cool, Mark.
You're a grown up now.
Right.
We do that.
You can do whatever you want. Okay.
Yeah, but I did. The thing is, I did.
You did it.
But you got the Pork Chop Express, so we got some mad love for the Big Trouble in Little China.
Oh, absolutely! What a great flick.
My favorite film.
They need to make a miniature line just dedicated to Big Trouble in Little China.
Weren't they supposed to do a reboot with The Rock? Did you hear about this?
What?
There was hints at a sequel or spiritual successor, something like that.
Okay.
I think it would lose the magic. There's.
Oh yeah, it would absolutely lose the magic, but then we'd have something to complain about.
All right, I'd be there opening night, right?
Yeah.
I went to see the new RoboCop movie opening night. I knew what I was in for.
Just from watching like 3 and 4.
No, from watching all 7.
Just all 7.
I watched all 7 in a row.
And
then we watched the WCW special, wrestling special, where RoboCop showed up and broke Sting out of a fake cage.
You watched all of these just recently, you're saying?
No, this was years ago. I'm still bearing the psychological scars from RoboCops 4 through 7. We have a mathematical theorem for RoboCop because RoboCop 1 is a good movie.
Yeah,
agreed.
It's a negative
RoboCop 2 is an okay movie. And then RoboCop 3 is not a good movie. And then the decline is like the steepest part of the bell curve. 4 through 7 is a movie about RoboCop, which was by that director's goal was to make the 1980s all-American version of Jesus. He comes back from the dead as a robot with a gun.
I mean, tell me more.
Exactly. Yeah, it was great.
He's got an idea.
But RoboCops 4 through 7 were made in Canada.
Oh, okay.
As a direct-to-TV special.
All right.
And the 6th and 7th one, 90% of those 2 films were flashbacks to the earlier.
I really hate when they do that. They buy the rights and then they just like have some real B movie stuff going on, and they.
Oh no, they didn't. They didn't flash back to the actual RoboCop movies. They flashed back to the made in Canada ones. They couldn't even afford.
Oh man,
yeah,
that's unfortunate.
We were screaming for the sweet release of death. It was terrible.
Did you like the Brandon Lee Crow? I love that movie.
I loved that movie. It was shot in Wilmington, North Carolina.
Really? I did love that.
Yeah.
Saw that in the theater, and amazing. And then the second one was okay. The soundtracks had really good bands on it too.
Yes.
I think the second one had like Gold Dust Woman from Hole, and like not a huge Hole fan, but they had like bands of the day, Deftones, different things like that. Rage Against the Machine was on the first one.
Right.
you know, Stone Temple Pilots. That those soundtracks were awesome.
Agreed.
But then the third one was just hot garbage. So the only other ones, I mean, like, then you get into the great trilogies, right? That have a different arc. So some like like A New Hope, Star Wars 1, amazing. Like
Mhm.
Empire Strikes Back is probably my favorite of the three.
Mhm.
So it's like the weird bell curve. And then Returns great as well. But like, how would you rank those three? And then we can maybe do this trilogy. Keep going down the list.
I rank them Empire, Hope, Return.
Yeah.
It
Because
depends
Returns
on if
got the Ewok, right?
it depends on if you're asking grown-up me or the little kid that still lives in me. Because the little kid that still lives in me is Return of the Jedi was the best one because
The Ewoks.
Luke Skywalker was fully realized as a Jedi. Like we
Yeah.
were told that he was a hero, but then he became one. It happened,
Yeah.
and we got to see it. That was great.
Yeah.
And the little kid in me that wanted to be a hero got to see that this dude could do it, right? So I loved Jedi as a kid. As an adult who appreciates a good story, Empire, just well choreographed, well put together.
Tim says Empire, Jedi, New Hope.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, I can appreciate it.
There's just things that stick out to each individual person as they're watching it. So moving right along, what's another? I don't want to steal the thunder on this. What's another great trilogy that comes to mind?
Indiana Jones, because it's only 3 movies.
No, it's not.
That's like, oh god,
that's true. Did you watch the most recent one? Did you watch the most recent one?
I actually like that much better than the Crystal Skull.
Well, yes, Crystal Skull is the bottom of the rung.
Yeah, that's no good.
Tim says I'm 52, so I remember. Yeah. And go ahead.
Reverse order. Crystal Skull, hot garbage, and then probably the newest one.
I enjoyed the newest one with the
I did, but I still wouldn't say it's like it beats the other three. And then I'd go.
I mean, Raiders of the Lost Ark, Temple of Doom, Last Crusade in that order, because you get introduced to the character. Temple of Doom was really good. Last Crusade having what's his name?
Sean Connery.
Sean Connery. Welcome to the Rock. And there was also super cool, but the Crystal Skull base, the absolute worst. But still, I was entertained.
Yeah. I mean, you still got to watch it. It had the Shia LaBeouf,
right?
He did weird.
The Dial of Destiny one was super fun because I loved the Antikythera mechanism as a mythological piece of history, even though it exists, but we don't know what it really was meant for and who actually truly created it. And I think the way they wrapped that story around that piece of historical evidence of higher math and like the first computer is what they think it could have been in its own way. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, no, it definitely was a good story,
Yeah.
So yeah, I would say for me, Temple of Doom as a child was my favorite. My buddy and I used to act it out, like little skits in front of his like mom and sister. We'd get all like the Lazy Susan when he's like, the antidote little bit or whatever, So like, yeah, but I would say now as an adult going back, probably in the order that they came out, except for Flip Crystal Skull for the tail end.
What do you remember? I think there's another one coming out.
I did just hear the rumor mill. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Harrison Ford is talking about doing it in some capacity.
Yeah. I would like to see it where the girl from the Dial of Destiny kind of takes over the mantle. She was I think her character was really well done, and I think she could hold the franchise.
Yeah, great actress. She was in what is it, Flea Flicker? She had a series on, was it Prime or? But yeah, she's hilarious. She's great. A versatile actress.
Yeah.
And there's a special kind of on-screen chemistry you need to pull off like Indy because he was vulnerable, right?
Hmm.
For a guy who got away with so much, he tricked you at least to make you think he was vulnerable.
Right.
So there was a lot of yeah, I've heard this for other movies as well, but it was like I can't remember if it was a meme or whatever. It was like Indiana Jones, if he wasn't in any of the movies, the outcome in the end wouldn't have changed at all.
So that is in regards to, honestly, that is in regards to the Raiders of the Lost Ark, and that was a Big Bang Theory episode.
Was it?
Yeah,
I feel like I've heard it prior to Big Bang Theory.
I know
What
it was
was
a
it?
Big Bang. I know it was a Big Bang Theory episode because basically Sheldon Cooper has his girlfriend, to be wife, Amy Farrah Fowler, watch what he considered to be one of the greatest cinematic movies of all time.
And she brings it up.
And she's like, "Well, you know that." Well, she basically goes, "It was just right." And
Yeah, what do you mean? Yeah.
yeah, what do you mean? And he's like, "He didn't need to be there. If he hadn't have been there, it all would have played out the same way. They would have taken the ark to the island and opened it up, and all been melted." And he was just like,
Hmm.
his jaw dropped. So, and then he, of course, goes on to tell the other guys, and they all have existential crises because of it. So,
But a great hero. Like
agreed. Yeah.
he plays. Would you consider him a rogue?
I would consider him, yes, absolutely a rogue. Because funny thing about the character of Indiana Jones is I play a lot of D&D characters that I kind of fashion after Indy,
Yeah.
in that I have one of my characters who is a arcane trickster rogue, is named Lassiter Loreseeker.
Great
And
archetype, by the way.
yeah, and he's very much about it belongs in a museum, right? He goes out treasure hunting, but not for the fortune and glory, but for the preservation of either the item or humanity. Because as you know, there's going to be items in games that could be detrimental to humanity if they were allowed to be let loose on the world. So, yeah.
And then him as Han Solo, I would say, also a rogue. Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah, a scoundrel for sure.
A scoundrel. Roguish scoundrel.
Hmm.
Tim mentions Aliens as a trilogy.
Ah, Tim, welcome to the show again. This is great. Yeah, Aliens, wonderful. First one's a horror movie, right? Suspense horror.
They're all
yeah.
horror movies.
Yeah, I would say too. Aliens is like more of an action horror. You know, it's kind of has that. But yeah, they're all got the horror.
Yeah.
But Aliens, yeah. As a kid, Aliens was for me. You know, because of the action and the one-liners. You know,
Right.
game over, man. Bill Paxton.
Bill Paxton. 15 hours. We're not going to last 15 minutes.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
he's a missed actor right there.
Oh yeah.
He's the mean brother in Weird Science too, right?
Yeah, Chet.
That's great. But yeah, that first one is just, I mean, Ridley Scott, amazing, right?
Hmm.
So I mean, it went from the Ridley Scott greatness to James Cameron, which is great in its own right, and he was just getting his footing. Is that coming off Terminator, correct?
I do not recall.
Yeah, he was coming off a Terminator for that one. And yeah, it's definitely like two different flavors of horror because you got like psychological horror in Alien, and
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at that more from a narrative sense, the point of Alien is like it's supposed to be illustrating the horrors of
Mhm.
sexual crimes, right? So it hit hard. It was hard to watch in a lot of spots. And Aliens was more like, but these aliens are terrible. Let's shoot them.
Right.
Right.
How can
They
you
were, and it was great.
Right. Dobrophonic in the chat says, "Love the Alien RPG."
Oh, no.
I haven't played it yet, but Free League, who is the publisher, is an amazing company, and I am sure that RPG is just phenomenal.
Is that one Another Glorious Day in the Core?
Yes.
What
Well,
a good name.
Isn't that a
Yeah.
separate board game though? The Gale Force 9
Oh,
is that.
yeah, that's right. That is the Gale Force 9. You're right. Thank you.
I have thumbed through that book, the RPG book though, artwork, and it's beautiful.
Mhm.
Yeah, I almost picked it up, then I was like, oh, I need like, at least 4 other nerds that are into this to make it worthwhile. Which I think I found a few right here. So
All right.
I'm pretty sure I count as 3 nerds for Aliens, honestly.
For sure.
that would be a fun thing to do.
Yes.
We need a spin-off show that we just do some RPG action.
Oh my lord. If we did in-store RPG action, that would be a blast.
Yeah. Like there's
It's kind of funny that I'll have a table set up just for that purpose at the new store.
it's like you plan this.
Yeah. Thinking about it. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Dobrophonic says, stress dice with the face hugger for the one are perfect. Oh my God. Yeah, stress dice with a face hugger. I ran a one shot at a con last fall. It was a blast. Very cool, bud. That's amazing.
Good times.
Yeah, heck yeah.
So going back now, I don't know. I got a lot of heart for Aliens 2.
Mm-hmm.
I would have to say 2, 1, 3 for me, just because I still got a lot of heart for the ridiculousness. I mean,
Right.
cinematically, it's probably 1, 2, 3, but and then I didn't really get down with the other ones because now they got Resurrection and then Prometheus, which all those which is not the same movie in my opinion. The prequels.
Right.
Yeah, Prometheus was interesting. I had fun with that one. I was entertained, but it was the characters made it harder to watch. They didn't have to be so dumb.
Agreed. They did not have to be so low intelligence, but maybe that's the stat blocks they rolled.
Could be.
They
yeah.
dumped statted in intelligence.
There you go. And there's something
That's what you do on a spaceship.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you want on a spaceship coming out of cryo.
Sure. Yeah, all these super scientists that are socially awkward, maybe don't, they may be super smart about the thing that they're super smart about, right? But they may not have the social aptitude to do the things that we as viewers would go, don't touch the breathing egg thing. Right?
And there's something to say about like they want you to say like, no, don't go in there, don't open that door.
Yeah, for sure. Which is what I say all the time. When people like are walking like across the street to any of the stores around here that are just like, don't go in there, come over here. Don't go in there, don't do it, don't do it. They went in there, dang it. They'll come over here sometime. I don't know. No, I think that is probably what they were trying to go for, maybe, is that whole, they're super smart, they can fly a spaceship, but they're just not socially equipped.
Sometimes it feels like it's the director trying to make the audience feel clever.
Yeah, I can see that for sure. I like being
And
I like feeling clever.
I think they could do a better job of it than just having you feeling clever doesn't mean you have to tolerate idiots.
Dang it.
You could be clever around clever people.
I don't know. Now I'm all confused.
Move along.
Well, speaking
you
of fun
you know,
movies,
yeah.
I just saw a ad or a movie poster for a new Predator movie.
I did see that.
It's called Prey.
Hmm. Is that was it Prime? Is it a series? Oh, it's
No,
on
no.
Hulu. Hulu, isn't
Okay,
it?
okay. I don't know what the new one will be on. It may be on Hulu because that is where the first Prey was, where they dealt with Native Americans. This Prey takes place during World War One, and it's called No Man's Land. That zone between the trenches of the Germans
Ooh.
and the Allied
Yeah.
forces. So, and it shows a predator in the middle of no man's land, like in the smoke, right? And it's like, oh, this looks like it's going to be a fun ride.
That's definitely cool.
Yep.
You know, on rare hot, more than usual hot occurrences, and then during times of war. What do they say during
Hmm.
altercations? Between nations or something. What do they say? I think it was in Predator 2 that they said they came up with that backstory the most, right?
Oh, in regards to why predators show up,
Yeah, when they come up, or was that Alien vs Predator that they talk it through?
I
In
think
Predator 2, it was like they talked about the temperature.
Yeah, that it was hot, and then maybe it was the Alien vs Predator where they say that they come
Hmm.
during times of altercations and
They mostly
Yeah.
come out at night. Mostly.
Mostly. Yes. That was one of the things. I think it was the Aliens versus Predator 2 one that they did where they're like in the small town and the high school and everything. That is probably my least favorite of the Aliens Predator stuff
that's the one.
because go ahead.
Is that the one they shot during the day, but they made it dark? Is that?
Yes. So it
Yeah.
looks horribly dark and it doesn't you can't see anything in the film. And it's like, God dang it. I just want to watch a movie and you're ruining it.
Should have bought the better, TV with better contrast. Damn it! Even with good contrast, it just doesn't show up well.
It doesn't show up at all. It's like they should have shot it during the night and used, you know,
No
um,
budget tactics.
just better lighting to kind of spotlight things. It's not hard.
Gosh,
Yeah.
I like this
Well,
trilogy kick around though. So like, I think next would be like Lord of the Rings.
yeah, for sure.
You know, um, I'm a number one guy because I like the story, like the character development of it.
Well, agreed. It's 1, 2, and 3. That's the order of Lord of the Rings. Anybody that says differently uh, is fine. It's just I don't agree.
That's tough. Is Return of the King that had that charge, like the best charge put on celluloid, if you ask me.
I don't know. I don't know about that.
Can you think of a better charge, a better masked group of horses with a rousing speech? I was ready to run at the screen in the theater. I was
Yes,
ready to go.
the Battle of the Bastards from Game of Thrones is a better charge.
That was a good one.
Yep, that was freaking crazy good. All right, I'm trying to find some silver metallic in my box of paints here, but I do not.
Can we call it
see
your
it.
kit of magic and my kit of magic?
Yes. I'm not finding the silver metallic. So I will have to come back, I think, and paint on the Red Skull. I put a like military green and black over his belts and such. And then I wanted on these straps here, there's little buttons, and here on his jacket, there's buttons that I wanted to paint silver, and the buckle on his strap thing there too. And then yeah, I would have been like, yeah, he's super done. Ish. I still got to do the base, but we can do Black Widow because Black Widow is awesome. I just need to find Black Widow's. Oh no, there's the silver. Haha, plate mail metal. Perfect. It was hiding in plain sight.
Even after doing like multiple layers of green, I'm still like, it still looks green. You know?
Yeah.
It's not showing like did a little wash too. You can see it. I was back up a little bit. Once I might highlight with some neon-y colors a little bit and do real painterly highlights maybe. And then thinking about going back with like black is doing like a little rim outline type thing, to give it that comic book sketchy bit.
Right.
And it'll look good from you're 3 feet away.
Okay.
Did you take that course you were talking about? Learn to paint from 2 feet away, or learn to paint from?
No, that was just someone being funny,
Uh,
and that's why because if you ever watched, I think it was Something About Mary,
mhm.
and the guy picks up a hitchhiker, and they're talking about 6-minute abs, and then he goes, "Well, what if someone did 5-minute abs?" And the guy was a serial killer and got really upset and was going to kill. I think it was what's his name? Ben Stiller's character.
In which movie?
Something About Mary.
Oh, okay.
So it was a play on that scene. So I talk about when I teach classes at like PAX Unplugged and other conventions. My class is literally called Painting for 3 Feet Away, making your miniatures tabletop ready. And the joke was, well, what if someone can paint it for 2 feet away? I'm like,
No.
you jerk, you got me. It's a funny play on a very funny movie. So
I like it.
All right. So what about the Three Flavors Cornetto trilogy or the Shaun of the Dead Hot Fuzz World's End? Does that count?
Yeah,
is that a
100%.
trilogy?
Yeah.
But are they the same characters? They're not.
They're not, but it's the only thing that links it together is they're eating that Cornetto ice cream, which is right Britain's version of the what are those called? Can't think of it. The cone, ice cream cone,
Drumstick.
drumstick. Yeah. Apparently, you can leave a drumstick out and it doesn't melt. Have you seen this? It's like not real ice. It's called like a ice. I don't even think they call it ice cream. A frozen treat, something like it's not called ice cream.
Oh, that's weird.
But I would rate those. I would do that. Simon Pegg and his buddy. I can't think of this guy's.
Nick Frost.
Nick Frost. Yeah, that's it. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Sean. I fought it. Yeah. I would say Shaun of the Dead for me. I'd say probably in the order that came out. I know other people like Hot Fuzz more, but Shaun of the Dead is like iconic for me. That's the best for sure. You could probably just stop there. But
I feel like Hot Fuzz is their empire.
That's the creme de la creme.
It's for the greater good.
The greater good.
The greater good.
Yeah.
One of the things that's
since
cool
that
about
movie,
Hot
my
Fuzz,
wife and I always, whenever we hear the greater good, we have to repeat it like that.
Good.
Well, there was a really good actor in that movie.
Oh yeah.
Who do you think I'm referencing?
The guy who was in Flash, Gordon.
No.
Oh.
The guy who was in Game of Thrones. Do you know who I'm talking about?
Oh, it's on the.
It's the Hound.
Okay.
The guy who plays the Hound plays the guy who literally only says "garp." He was like the security guard at the grocery store. That was the guy from Flash Gordon's like security guy.
Yeah. Oh, what was his name?
I can't remember his name in the show,
but
he just said "garp." That was like "yorp," "gorp," or whatever.
I'll be right back.
Uh-oh, we lost Mark. Bye, Mark.
Bye.
Bye. Yeah.
I'm trying to find his name right now.
He's another great actor. Dobrophonic says the prequels are not great as stories, but they have neat ideas and characters. I think what he's talking about is the Aliens prequels, which were
Oh, Prometheus,
Prometheus.
and
All
yeah.
right. He goes, I strangely enjoyed them more the second time I watched them. So did I. The first time I watched them, I was like getting a headache. And then the second time I watched them, I was like, oh, okay. Because now I'm looking at more than just the characters in the story. I start watching like how the scenes are shot, the videography and stuff like that. And then he goes, because I knew the BS. Okay. All right. That makes sense.
Yeah, there was so much mystery that was happening in
Mhm.
Prometheus that you had to endure the idiots to
Yeah.
get to the mystery, and that made it a lot of fun to watch.
Hmm. I agreed. I'm gonna mute myself just for a second, or if you could mute me
Yeah.
just for a second. Thanks.
So now I'm just going to talk about Prometheus, and no, I don't really have much about Prometheus. That one doesn't have enough trivia to be interesting. I'd love to talk about like The Thing or Big Trouble in Little China. But The Thing, I think we talked about it before. There's a fan theory that the main character was infected the whole time, and he was having people a drink because they established early on that saliva can transmit the monster. And he kept, and at the very end, he hands the guy a drink.
Interesting. My mission failed. I couldn't find any neon paint, so we're gonna call this little dude done for a minute. I could do a little more on his pants. Let's do this because I started with Diabolic Plum.
Diabolic Plum.
Putting
It's like the worst fruit bowl.
the plums on his plums, and then there's Warlock Magenta, and so I was getting a little more pinky with it, pinky in the brain. What's another trilogy? Would you consider, like, horror movies get crazy, like the Friday the 13th? You know, they got like 8, 9 of them, 10. You know, they got wild. But the first, like, I don't know, would you consider the first 3 Friday the 13th? Would you get into that as like let's do 1 or 2? Like, did you see? Because like 1, it's not even Jason Voorhees, right? It's
Right. That's the only one that's distinct in my mind compared to the rest. They all just kind of blurred together.
Yeah.
2,
he gets the mask. He gets the mask.
Yeah.
3 is like, yeah, you kind of lose it there. It's not a great for sure.
I enjoyed Jason Takes Manhattan just because it was like,
Is that 7?
it was campy. I don't even remember.
Yeah.
It was campy and ridiculous, and that was fun, right?
You
It
ever
was like a
see Freddy?
Godzilla movie.
Yeah, oh yeah, 100%. You ever see the Freddy vs. Jason?
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
those movies. Another good trilogy.
I really loved Nightmare on Elm Street back in the day. I'll tell you what, though. I think 4 was probably, I considered that to be the peak.
The Dream Child.
Oh, I don't remember the subtitle.
You're the only one with an actual mini cam, and you're putting it up by your face. I'm not angry. I'm just saying. Looking good. I got to look up this Nightmare on Elm Street.
Do you need to let us know when you need us to unmute you, Rick? Is that a do it now? Okay.
Do it now.
Do it now.
Yes.
There we go.
Thanks. Yeah, I had to give some instruction here at the store
Instructions.
because we're getting ready to start packing for everybody's starting to show up to start packing the stuff that needs to go to the show tomorrow. So
You pretty stoked?
I am. I mean, it's work and it's a busy time, but it's fun to interact with the people, the attendees, and to introduce, because a lot of them sitting down and painting miniatures is a brand new experience, and so getting to show my love for this part of the hobby to new potential painters is amazing. So I really enjoy it.
No, it's gonna be epic.
Yeah, I agree. Super fun.
Yeah, I remember like I think it was a couple seasons ago you were talking about it in between episodes, and you'd mentioned that you deeply loved C2E2.
I do. It's a really fun show when you think about all the big shows that exist, right? With like San Diego and New York and um, a few others. Not too many others are actually bigger. I mean, WonderCon is probably of similar size, but this convention is creeping up on 100,000 attendees, and um, it's just a fun show because there's also a level of intimacy there that you don't get at other shows because with what we do with the paint and take, we get to actually sit down and talk to the attendees, whereas a lot of times the attendees are rushing through, looking at stuff to buy and all that stuff, and it's like, they don't, I think as a regular vendor, you don't really get the opportunity to really have a good conversation with certain people that you probably would, um, right? Because I mean, you're really there to make sales and stuff, which is understandable. But I'm there just to introduce people to the hobby. Granted, we do have a small retail part to our booth, but it's not the priority. Our priority is to give people an experience, and hopefully one that will lead them down the path of the brush, dun, dun,
Uh-oh.
dun,
Hey, look at
uh,
that!
right? And become a hobbyist and you know start sharing their works in our Discord. That's going to be a big push this year is to get people on our Discord and sharing their completed miniatures and where they go in the hobby beyond just attending the show. So yeah, it's one of the reasons I enjoy it. And oddly, that's also one of the reasons I enjoy New York Comic Con. Ever long before I ever started doing the paint and take for them, I've attended it for many years now, and um, the energy at New York Comic Con is so. I love the energy there, so it's just different. So yeah,
That's
I just
another one
like
of
it.
those bucket list things. Maybe go there some year.
I agree.
I wish we knew someone that went there.
If only, right? If only. I mean, I always need help,
Yeah,
especially
definitely.
in New York. Especially at New York. That place is just crazy town. Because you got 200,000 attendees, and this past year we only really had like three, maybe four people helping at the paint and take all weekend long, and oof, it was rough.
Lessons learned, right?
Yeah, lessons learned. Well, we had some folks that were supposed to be there that didn't show up or couldn't make it because of, you know, I think one person got sick with COVID, and then
Yeah.
the things that happen, right? Life happens,
Yeah.
and
Got to
so
roll with
we,
the punches.
yep, and so we did. We were very flexible and what I like to call semper gumby, always flexible, and
Nice. Nice.
we we handled the situation and had a very successful event. So yeah, and I think we're going to do it again this year. I mean, we are doing the show again, but I'm thinking we'll have another really good event. So
Yeah, it's awesome.
yeah, for sure, for sure. All right. What time we got? It's 10 after 8. I think it's
Wow.
time for us to give a shout out to some of our sponsors,
Yeah.
right? The people that help support our partners in paint here. So obviously the Army Painter, who makes the new Army Painter War Paints Fanatic, which is now available at most hobby stores. So if you go to your friendly local game store, find out if they have it, start using some War Paints Fanatic in your hobby and paint time. They also are the creators of the um, speed paints. the Army Painter Speed Paints, and those are also super good tools to add to any toolbox. And yeah, we also would like to shout out to Tabletop Gurus, which is uh, Mark's company, and to Hoplite Games here in Lansing, where we are coming to you live from, or at least that's where I'm coming to you live. And then big shout out to Gen Con TV and Gen Con the convention for allowing us to come on here and share our love of this hobby with y'all. Because you know, a lot of people would think, oh, it's a painting show. We're going to learn some stuff. If you ask questions, we'll absolutely address them. But we're really just here because we maybe you need to dedicate a time during the week that you know during this time I'm going to paint. I'm going to hang out with my friends Rick, Mark, and Will, and whoever else we might bring on. Right? It's more of a hobby time with friends that enjoy painting, but it also gives us the opportunity and dedicated time to work on some things we need to be working on for our hobby. Right? So, as an example, the Marvel United miniatures are for a game that I play. So the theme for this season is painting what I play, and so I play Marvel United, and so hence why we're working on them. And we play Conquest, which has been a few episodes, Shatterpoint, Song of Ice and Fire, and between now and Gen Con, you're gonna get to see some other games that we play, or have interest in playing and getting to the table. Like we haven't done BattleTech this season yet, so we'll probably hit some BattleTech, and then I've actually been working on some Horizon Zero Dawn from the board
Ooh,
game.
nice.
And of course Dungeons and Dragons, right? Going to work on some of the miniatures from the Epic Encounters stuff from Steamforge Games. So we got a lot of cool stuff coming up. Another shout out to Game Envy, the makers of the Hobby Handle and our collapsible paint cups here, which are super fun and cool. The silicone paint cups, and when you break them down flat, they travel real well. And they're also the ones that are making our the brushes I use here, the Phalanx brushes. So these are really good as well. So shout out to them. And if you do have the opportunity to go give them all a follow. And speaking of follows, there's that heart and bell right here on Twitch. So you can give us a follow here and hit the bell for notifications. So that you don't miss out on any of the other programming that is here live on Gen Con TV. There's so many good things going on. You've got Actor Roki coming up next after we're done here tonight. And then there's also on Thursdays, Blood on the Clock Tower, Roll with Rem Alternus, and Fridays, you have Table Takes and Sarah's Table. And then, of course, Mondays, there's the Peter versus the Machine, Dress to Quest, and Tuesday, it looks like Indie by Night, which I think is a
Ooh.
Vampire the Masquerade game, which is super
Oh,
cool.
yeah.
I hope there's like 6 Ventrue in the party, because that's the clan I prefer. If you know anything about Vampire the Masquerade.
That's
I
a
rock
lot
the,
of Castle
I rock
Intrigue.
the boss.
What's that? I didn't
Nope.
hear either of you.
Will.
Oh, the Ventrue, I said that's a lot of Castle Intrigue.
Yeah, agreed.
I said I played a Bruja character.
Back in the day, yay. That's cool, man. Do you remember your character's name?
Yeah, it wasn't not that long ago. Actually, we did it like just it was like right before COVID. It was our alternate B game when people couldn't do a full D&D game. And so someone brought before they brought the new books out, the new RPG books out. These guys used to play in college. They had all of them, you know, and they had the Apocalypse, Werewolf Apocalypse. They'd bring that in. So we had one like Black Spiral Dancer in there with a werewolf. You know, he would just go good crazy and just like start thrashing everybody in the room. You know, even like good guys, bad guys. But yeah, that was kind of fun.
Nice. Yeah,
what was his name? It was Red Tooth Grin. Is an ode to Dimebag Darrell, who would drink Jack and Cokes, and he called it a Black Tooth Grin, his drink. So red, and the guy was a rocker. He had a purple mohawk, and he was a
All
rocker.
right.
The
Cool.
red grin.
All right. I played a Ventrue named Thomas Panzer.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Like
It's
the
kind of
tank?
funny. Yeah, like the tank. Which is funny because Will, your last name in real life is a name of a tank as well,
It is the
which is kind of
Chafee,
right, which is cool.
and all Chafees are related. It could distantly, but they're all related.
Oh wow.
My dad did a lot of genealogy stuff,
Okay.
but yeah, we are. I had to look up the history of that tank because, but I'm related to that guy. It's like
Right.
the father of modern American tank doctrine. It's pretty wild.
That is wild. For sure.
That's awesome.
The tank was almost immediately outshone by the Sherman, and
Okay.
because it was lightweight enough, they were able to transport it over to different islands as an island, like a more mobile defensive piece.
The Sherman?
Okay.
No, the Chafee.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Sometimes when I run, I get a bit of a chafee.
Yeah, same.
That's not what you get.
Oh, is that not-
That's not what you get. I haven't heard that one before, guys.
the sciences?
Yeah, my last name's Warner, so like I was thinking, like, what was it? Is like the town crier,
Well, yeah, you warned everybody. Is that not how that worked?
I guess so,
Yeah,
right?
maybe.
I
I don't know.
I don't know where that came from. It's German background, right?
I
That
don't
name.
know. Maybe.
You tell me.
I don't know. I don't know genealogy.
Oh, okay.
Well, and etymology is fun too, because that would
Right.
be like why and how that word was made.
Yeah.
Is that where you eat soybeans? Etymology. That's
No.
edamame. Never mind.
Edamame.
Bad joke. It's a sushi joke.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Path of Brush, where we do our best to try to get some dad jokes out of the way. We're not good at it.
I think that's the best. I love telling a joke and then be like, "That's a joke," and then be like, "Yeah, I just not laughing on purpose."
We got to do something to help us
Mm.
like get past the tragic events of what was it, 1994.
Oh yeah, and yeah, absolutely.
I almost forgot about that.
Yeah, because back in 1994, there was a very tragic event that took place, where a runaway planet from outer space collided between the Earth and the Moon,
Mhm.
and unleashed cosmic destruction, where mankind's civilization was cast in ruin, which is, yeah, absolutely a tragedy. And granted, it hasn't been 2,000 years, but the world won't really be reborn until 2,000 years later. And in that time, it'll be a strange new world filled with sorcery, savagery, and super science, right? And obviously, there's going to be bad guys, but in order to fight those bad guys, one man will break his bonds, and with his companions Ukla the Mock and Princess Ariel, he will be able to use his courage, his strength, and his fabulous sun sword to defeat evil. And that individual is, by all accounts, like one of the best individuals out there, and he goes by the name Thundar the Barbarian. So,
Thundar the Barbarian.
I mean, that's Thundercats,
Oh.
but close enough. Close enough. Yeah, we always gotta give some love to Thundar, for everything he's done for us. So thank you, Thundar, or what he will do for us in the far future,
Which is now the past, yeah.
which is now the past.
After all that savagery, sorcery, and super science,
Hmm.
and all the breaking of the bonds, we probably just restarted the calendars. So,
Oh yeah, for sure. So we've already done. Excuse me. We talked about some trilogies, and last episode we talked about like our favorite Marvel Cinematic moments. But I think it would be kind of fun to talk about some of the Marvel cartoons that have existed over the years, like Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends.
Mhm.
The old. I don't know if you ever watched The Thing. when he had his own cartoon back in like the late
Jim Grimm,
70s.
the thing?
Yep, Ben Grimm, the Thing. Hmm.
That's old school. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, where he had like a ring and um all the rocks would fly and like turn him into the Thing, right? It was like a weird take on that character. Um,
I
at
prefer
least I thought so.
call him the Thing, you know?
A Thing.
There was something about cartoons, like specifically the ones that were tailored for kids. They had to have a transformative sequence.
Yeah,
They thought that it was like how they had to have gorillas in comics in the golden age, right? Like
right.
it's not going to succeed if something doesn't transform. I always wondered about that.
Yeah, it's very strange. The but when it comes to cartoons, like the Marvel cartoons that have existed over time, obviously Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends was one of my favorite ones, and it's where I, as a young man, and I'm guessing many young individuals who watched it and enjoyed it, uh, first got to hear Stan Lee talk to us, or Uncle Stan, as he would become known as, right? So you would hear his, excuse me, you would hear his whole like, greetings, Spidey fans, welcome to Spider. In this episode, will Peter Parker, and he had one of those voices that was iconically known, right? And to hear his open narrations on Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends was like one of those moments of the day, where you could just be like, all right, this is like, there's nothing else in existence right now. It is only me and Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends, and that was it. With Iceman and Firestar, right?
Oh,
Which
yeah.
was so good.
Made Iceman cool, you know?
I mean, Iceman has always been cool,
Is that a pun?
but I mean,
Those guys.
you
Those
definitely threw it out as a pun, but I, Iceman is one of the most powerful mutants there is. I didn't know. I don't know if you knew this, right?
I'm waiting for it.
So one of the things that Iceman can do is he can accumulate more and more mass, right, to make himself big and strong. So he can get exponentially stronger as a character, and as far as like physical strength goes, right? He can also now transport himself through water and ice and everything, the humidity of the world or whatever, almost like in an instant. So he has instant teleportation, I guess you could say, or water portation.
Like reverse osmosis?
Yeah, sort of. And of course, he can, instant freeze all the fluid in a body and just kill you, right? But he doesn't because he's a hero.
Hmm.
So he is super strong. There's a time in the comics where he actually had to wear a belt that kept him from actually being able to tap into his full potential because he wasn't able to control it for some reason. Because um, like the White Queen or somebody, or Mr. Sinister or somebody, like, just unlocked his full potential and he just couldn't control it, and it was too fast. It wasn't a long-term transition into his full power. He just was like instantly given access, and so in order to keep him from doing horrible things like causing an ice age, a global ice age, they harnessed him with this like weapon, this power dampening belt that kept him still pretty strong, but not as strong as he could be. And that's why we all love Bobby Drake, Iceman.
That's some deep Iceman knowledge.
Thanks,
I
man.
feel like he I think from growing up with him there,
Hmm.
you had a more of a love for him. I feel like he's kind of fallen by the wayside a little bit.
Well, in the movies and stuff, he obviously hasn't been given all the credit that he's due as a original member, right?
Right?
And everything.
I guess
But
in the first X-Men movie he's in, right?
hmm
Uh, and he's kind of like hanging out with Rogue a little bit.
Yep. Got himself a little crush going,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
which would never have happened in the comics.
No,
Not for Rogue, at least. So,
I did. There was a. I'm trying to remember the comic run. It might have been like not Executioner's Song. Man, it was X something because it was X-Men,
mhm.
but
Yeah.
they had a crossover with the Fantastic Four, and he and Johnny Storm
Hmm.
got to tag team their powers onto somebody, and that
Oh,
was
Jesus.
the only time I ever liked the Fantastic Four, because I don't like
I
them.
know you're not a fan. Yeah.
I'm not a fan of them, but that was okay.
Yeah. I mean, Johnny Storm is also an epic
Yep.
level character as far as his powers are concerned.
Also, Captain America, right? He played the. That's such a weird. The first Fantastic Four movie is such a weird because they're like, I guess he played the damn, but we'll make him Captain America too. It's fine.
Well, if you think about it, he could have been, you know, a different universe because he was that wasn't 616.
Yeah, the
Right?
multiverse definitely makes
Yeah.
a lot of things canon.
Yeah. So, yeah, which is super fun because you got who is it? Pedro Pascal um will be playing Mr. Fantastic in the upcoming movie.
That's
But
fantastic.
but you have John Krasinski, or is that his name? John Krasinski, from The Office.
Yeah.
Played him in the Doctor Who, or I'm sorry, Doctor Strange. Um,
Oh yeah, Multiverse of Madness. No,
yeah, the one with the witch, with
yeah,
Scarlet Witch. Yeah, I think it was. No, it wasn't Multiverse. Yeah, it was Multiverse of Madness. Yeah.
The
yeah,
newest one.
Hmm. The one by Sam Raimi. You guys knew that, right? That was
yes,
also, yeah.
oh yeah. So
It's the one
did
with
you
the
know
giant
about
eyeball squid thing coming crawling down the building.
Yep. With America Chavez, the other dimensional traveler superhero.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So are you guys familiar enough with Sam Raimi's movies to know about the classic, as it is known?
I mean, I know Evil Dead.
So the classic is the car. There's a car that he has that is in every single movie that he's ever made. It's called and it's been around since like the very first Evil Dead. He's always had it. It's kind of like his lucky charm.
Okay.
And and he's gone to such great pains to make sure that this car is included in every one of his films. There was like a Western that he did where he had a wagon built around the car so that it could be pulled by a horse and actually still be in the film. You don't really see it, but it is absolutely there.
That's wackadoo.
The scene where near the end where they're walking through the mists and the bits of reality are floating,
Yeah.
the classic has been elevated by a crane. That is really a car. That's not CGI.
Oh, that's amazing. Okay.
That's fun. That's a good tidbit.
I thought you were going to say the classic was Bruce Campbell.
Well, I found out about that because of Bruce Campbell's autobiography.
Ah, okay.
That's where I first learned about it, which was a fascinating book. That was really fun.
Nice.
If Chins Could Kill.
Right.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to do, Ash from Evil Dead for Halloween. I thought that'd be fun. You just need like a denim, ripped denim shirt. But then I always try to get like too crazy. Like, how do I do the chainsaw hand? And then like, how do you drink your cocktail? And like, what do you, get your boomstick out? But anyway, I still think it'd be a fun one.
Oh yeah.
You're ridiculous.
Why?
Because I've seen a lot of Ash cosplayers, and the chainsaw hand is actually pretty easy if you just do make it out of foam.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be like a real chainsaw.
I know. Like there's always like one crutch where I want it to look awesome, but then there's always cardboard on the on part
Well,
of
I
it.
feel like you would want it to be like, how do I modify this real chainsaw to put on my hand? Right. I can see you doing that, like going to Home Depot and buying a small, branch trimming chainsaw and be like, all right, this is what I got to do.
Take the chain off.
Yeah.
I Years ago they had the haunted houses, and this like I was in high school. There's this place in Michigan, it used to be called Barnstormers, that has like a concert hall, but they also did these like Halloween like epic things. They'd have like an
Mhm.
old helicopter that like the blades would like slowly move around, and they'd have this guy in like a ghillie suit running around this giant like on giant stilts, with these like crazy light eyes, and it was just one of the scariest things running you through there. So at the end of it, there was a
Mhm.
guy. Can't remember if I told you guys this, but there's a guy with like a chainsaw with a hockey mask, talking about Jason.
Okay.
And I was like, all right, I'm being cool, I was like, and it's like, "Rrr, rrr, rrr, rrr," like coming up, and I'm like, yeah, whatever, and people just start running because he's coming after you, and I was like, I'm not
Right.
running. He actually took the chainsaw, it was a real chainsaw without a blade on it, and set it on my back, and the little thing's like vibrating, and man,
Nice.
no. So the car as fast as I could. It was a scary event there.
That's amazing.
And after I got done changing my pants,
Right. Oh, unless you wore your brown pants and you're good to go.
there you go. Yeah, yeah. Halloween's a good time.
Yeah, for
We're
sure.
already starting. Are we already starting to plan? It's only April.
I mean, I'm not starting to plan for it, but I
Is
think
it
it's
ever too early to get ready for Halloween, though?
no, it's not. It's not. Not at all. Not at all. So I'm working on Ultron right now.
You're making fast work of all this stuff, and I'm still on my Hulk here.
And Ultron is actually super cool. And again, the Fanatic paints have an amazing um it's called radiation glow effects. So it's just like a fluorescent orange. And when you look at the card, Ultron has like a reddish orange energy glow in his recesses there. So this has been a really fun paint to use on Ultron here. Ooh, that makes it look more like I was just decorating, giving him lipstick. Oops. And which is fine, but not
It's
what I
just
wanted.
paint.
It's just paint. Yeah. So, yeah, so this is a really cool effect that we're getting from this glow paint, which I think is really fun. So put some more in these like energy pockets on his back. And once that dries, I might put some white in there as well to kind of pop it a little bit.
I love it when you pop it like it's hot like that.
Yeah, I agreed. Pop it like it's hot. Beep, beep, pop it, pop it, pop it, pop it like it's hot.
Yep.
With Ultron, I'd be so tempted to add those Kirby spheres, the bubbles he always did as energy.
Yeah, he's got two on his near his shoulders here. Two little round spheres. So that's really it.
But he always had a bunch of them in his mouth, like almost like bubbles.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about. The energy spheres. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I know what you're talking about now. Yeah, yeah. For sure. All right.
Like the
So
definitive Kirby technique.
yeah. Well, I think we're gonna call it right there for tonight, ladies and gentlemen. We got a lot of stuff going on here at the store, getting ready to go to C2E2 tomorrow. So if any of you watching or come and watch us later happen to be in Chicago this week, make sure to stop by the Paint and Take Arena in the side quest section of the vendor hall. Big shout out to Will and Mark, as always, for coming out and hanging with us. Let's show our progress, if you don't mind, guys. I'd like to see where you got today.
I
Nice.
was
That looks great.
getting in there.
Yep. Oh yeah, those look amazing. Good job. Those are definitely good for 2 feet away. And
I love
Big shout out to the Army Painter. Again, if you have not done so yet, go follow their YouTube channel, The Army Painter. They've got a lot of stuff going on over there. Good tutorials and everything as well. And hit that heart and hit that bell here on Twitch to make sure that you're following Gen Con TV. And until next time, I'm your host, Rick. This has been Path of the Brush. We'll see you at a friendly local game store.